So many of us got our start in theater as children, right? Putting on shows for our families, building miniature dioramas, right? There were early scenic models, and even exploring limited lighting effects with flashlights in a dark room. Well, today we welcome to the stage the celebrated St. Louis native Ken Page, who's best known for his voice work as Oogie Boogie in Tim Burton's cult classic, The Nightmare Before Christmas. Being new to the St. Louis community, Ken was one of the first people I met, and I instantly knew if this is a place that Ken called home, this is a place I wanted to call home. Ken's also known for his roles on stage in the original Broadway stage production of Cats, and in the musicals Ain't Misbehaving, Guys and Dolls, and The Wiz. Please join me in welcoming actor, singer, writer, director, and my friend, Ken Page.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow. There's a lot of people here. Listen, oh, look, there's the arch. Welcome to St. Louis. Usually before 10 o'clock, I'm easily mistaken for Dracula, so I'm glad to be up and alert. You know, actor's time and all that. Good morning. Everybody had their coffee? Okay, good. It's a pleasure to be with you on this crisp morning. When I was approached about being the keynote speaker today, the first thing I thought was, what will I talk about? As an actor, I wondered what was my connection to this kind of event. That was before I gave it more thought. As a director, I realized that the connection was indeed there, and it was there early. Today, I can only give you my humble but appreciative point of view and perspective. Okay, let's go back to 1964. Wouldn't it be nice if we could go back to 1964? Yeah. It's before most of you were born, I realize, but that's okay. The lights went down. The orchestra played the overture. And slowly, the huge sliding booms taking the place of a house curtain opened. It was a production of Oklahoma. It was right here in St. Louis at the St. Louis Municipal Opera, now simply called the Muni. An 11-year-old boy looked down from the free seats all the way at the top of the 11,000-seat outdoor theater and witnessed magic. Not just the magic of the music being played by the wonderful musicians, or the glorious voice of the actor singing, "Oh, what a beautiful morning." Being an actor, I had to get that in. Yeah. But there in front of his 11-year-old eyes was what looked like an entire cornfield with a blue sky stretching behind it. On the stage floor was the dappled light of a sunlit morning. Even before that revelatory moment, a 7-year-old boy was awakened for the first time not only to his own imagination, but to the imaginations of the creative minds behind the moment before him. The leading lady's shimmering ball gown was set on cool fire by the deepest blue and purple lights my eyes had ever seen. And it was just that, light, color, a costume, and my imagination. Unbeknownst to myself at the time, it was where my appreciation and love of what we here would call the technical creative arts began. At 7 and again at 11 years old. So after those nights at the Muni, I would go home and raid my mother's collection of shoe boxes or any other cardboard I could get my hands on. I would recreate the sets of whatever show I had seen to the best of my ability, which wasn't too bad, come to think of it. To the best of my ability and as accurately as my crayon and water paints would allow. On a stage fashioned out of 2 orange crates nailed together, I recreated the veranda of the student prince, the Rocky Mountain log cabin of the unsinkable Molly Brown, and the Harmonia Garden staircase of Pearl Bailey's production of Hello, Dolly. All recreated in miniature, made of cardboard, right there in my bedroom and basement. But what about lights? Where to find lights? Aha! Christmas lights. They included the primary colors that I needed, red, yellow, blue. Out of the seasonal boxes they came. Now, I want to stop here just for one moment and give a shout out to my mother for never stopping me, but allowing me to explore my creativity. Her shoes and next year's tree lights be damned. Now, can we give a hand for the parents who allowed our creative minds to fly free? Yeah! Christmas lights strung or hung, as I would later learn to say. I would change the colors and marvel at how the light differences changed the look of my sets. Of course, by this time, I had added cutouts of people, the characters, to the equation. For me, it was all alive and real and beautiful. I wouldn't realize until many years later, while directing a production of The Fantastics and being presented with the scale model of the set, that I had been preparing for my future all those years ago. Yeah, thank you. Before I even knew what a scale model was. All those years before I began any kind of performing, the technical, creative arts had been my first love. The set designer thought that I was really, really pleased with his work, which I was. But my joy ran much deeper. When I moved into the performing world of the theater, from high school musicals through university and eventually on to Broadway, my interest in the other side of the theater never waned. There was nothing like watching our bare stage slowly become Damon Runyon's Times Square of Guys and Dolls, or the mystical world of the Wiz's Oz. While in the audience, I have marveled at a simple park bench where the actors waited for Godot, or at a fire escape that extended endlessly into the night sky, while the simple St. Louis apartment beneath it rested in a reflecting pool of water, suggesting memory, while at the same time, my attention was drawn to a small table downstage covered with a glistening glass menagerie, all brilliantly designed by Bob Crowley in the recent Broadway revival. I have been dazzled by the creation of the huge mansion of Sunset Boulevard, filled with shadowed corners and doorways, and a grand staircase where a faded Hollywood legend descended. At turns, all of it gliding effortlessly in the air above the stage as if on a magic carpet. From the genius mind of designer John Napier. I've wondrously gazed at a vast sand dune over which a battalion of costumed soldiers marched and sang, having been called to duty in South Pacific. I've been touched by the reality and familiarity of playwright August Wilson's Pittsburgh row house backyard surrounded by designer Michael Tirgis's fences. I will never forget entering the world of the mind of the lead character depicted in the set of The Curious Case of the Dog in the Night. Stunning. I myself had climbed among the oversized debris in a back alley junkyard and was elevated on a huge tire as it ascended into the jellicle night like a spaceship returning home, again from the mind of John Napier. I have shed tears watching the stage action on sets as spare as a chair or a table, but no less effective. All of them created out of wood, fiberglass, steel, plaster, and the beautiful mind of the set designer and his or her merry band of wizards. Here's to them this morning. Do we have any set designers here? Say woo! Here's to you. Lights! Yeah! The wonder of lights. As I said before, the first thing that captured my imagination was the indigo blue in that early production of Cinderella. I didn't see that same hue, or should I say, I didn't feel it again until I walked into the Vivian Beaumont Theater in New York for the 1994 revival of Carousel. The front curtain was basically a curved downstage cyc, bathed in a deep blue-purple light. It seemed to actually vibrate. I watched as many in the audience sat and stared at this light, as I did myself. We were being hypnotized and brought into the world of a New England twilight. I like to say that the lighting designer, not unlike the set designer, paints the stage with light. I sat in the audience at the Broadway production of Hamilton. You got tickets? And marveled at the lighting design. While the set remained fairly the same throughout, the lighting changed and created locations and moods at the same speed as the plot and our imaginations and the thought processes of the actors on stage. It was beautiful to witness. The lighting plot can give us actors our emotional context and reality. There is nothing more powerful than seeing an actor on a stage in a single pool of light. Such a moment is always expected with possibilities, whether it's Elphaba's defying gravity and Wicked, or Prospero riding the emotional storms of The Tempest, or Hamlet pondering to be or not to be. We, the actors, are taught under all circumstances to find our light. We do, and we thank you for bathing us in your sorcery. We love the lighting designers. Lighting designers, where are you? There you go. We love you. Of course, I must personally pay homage to the costume designer. Costumers? There you go. I've worn many brilliant creations, many of them furry and feline. I always try as an actor to spend time with the costume designer. Many times, I would skip lunch, and that's a lot for me, to sit and talk historical period design and fabrics and buckles and buttons and lapels and so on. Nothing like vodka in the morning, I tell you. The right costume can and usually does create the first visual impact of the character on the audience. Even in the dressing room, it aids in the inhabitation of the persona of the character for the actor. Whether it's a hat, a scarf, or a head-to-toe recreation of a time and place. How important is that costume? Very. For me, it always starts with the shoes. Cats, which, by the way, is available on DVD and Blu-ray from Amazon, less than $20. Just in case you didn't know. Was the first time a fully house-integrated sound plot was used on Broadway, to the best of my knowledge. The musical sound, like the cast, came from all over the theater. Some of the instruments came from upper house left, while the clarinets and synthesizers came from the back of the orchestra floor, creating whimsical interplay with the audience like cats. The floor rumbled, and the sound converged downstage center and soared upward with the rising of the disk of blinking and strobing light stage center. This was just in the overture. The division of instruments and sound effects was used throughout the evening. It was one of the first, if not the first, time an orchestra was completely off stage, along with what had before been the pit singers. The conductor was on 3 screens mounted on the balcony rail. Now, while all of this was the idea of Sir Andrew Lloyd Webber, it was executed by the amazing sound designer and his technical or her technical magicians. I would also like to take another moment to say, if I may, while awards do not measure the whole contribution of any artist to the project that they are involved in, the fact that there is no Tony Award category for sound design is a huge oversight. Yeah. When you hear the score of Hamilton filtered through the recording studio-like expertise of the sound designer, you cannot doubt that the need for that recognition is real. Right, David Grindle? Okay, I got that off my chest. All right. There are so many new innovations being used in the theater today that in a way combine the job of the set or lighting designer. With the advent of LED screens and the ever-increasing use of projections, a whole new category and field of expertise has emerged. Projections by, or technical set assistance by. I welcome it and marvel at the knowledge it takes to create it. The effect is still the same. The end result and purpose is still the same: to amaze and delight the senses. Now, I couldn't close today without a special shout out to our stage managers. The saviors of the theater. We all know how endlessly important our stage managers and production stage managers are. They are the glue between the creatives, the cast, and anybody else who wanders in. In the director's absence, They are director, mother, father, priest, minister, rabbi, maintenance man, soothsayer, disciplinarian, and in some cases, understanding friend. They must know and understand all the creative terrain and therefore are invaluable. We appreciate you. A hand for the stage managers. So, I hope I've illustrated through my words my love for the people that a theatrical event, or the people that make a theatrical event happen. I don't exaggerate one bit when I tell you I am and always have been fascinated by what so many of you do. I envy you your consummate knowledge of how to. I continue to learn every moment, and I love doing so. I'm sure you all know quite well why the technical arts are so important and the ultimate value of this conference. I hope through the next few days you all get to exchange knowledge, see old friends, make new friends, and professional alliances, and absorb the new forms of stage technology that you might discover here. Those of you who will be recognized for your contributions, I congratulate you. I take off my hat to all the people who make up USITT. Give all of yourselves a hand. No, I'm just giving a hand. He's coming. You all deserve thanks for what you contribute to the wonderful world we call theater, in all its forms and fashions, whenever you make and wherever you make your magic happen. Be it universities, community theaters, high schools, 500, 200, or 99-seat theaters. The task is always the same. The discipline needed does not vary. The love and devotion is an unnegotiable requirement. I slightly paraphrase and remind you of the words of the great movie and theatrical character Norma Desmond of Sunset Boulevard, when she says, "We taught the world new ways to dream, and so do you all." If by example or a student-teacher relationship, however the information is passed on to the next group behind you, don't forget to tell them it can all start with shoeboxes and Christmas lights. Have a wonderful conference. Thank you.
Mr. Ken Page. Thank you.